Okay, good evening, welcome to the sixth form open evening for A-Level and BTEC Sport. My name is Mr Curtis, I'm faculty leader of PE.
My name is Mr Hyam, I'm Deputy Faculty Leader of PE and I'm in charge of the BTEC Sport course and also the BTEC Sport course.
Okay. So the first question we always get asked is how do the two courses compare? So we've got a nice summary on the board. You can see the A-Level PE is a little bit more academic, if you like, in nature, as opposed to more vocational approach in the BTEC. There are though two exam units within the BTEC course which it's important to be aware of. The final assessment for A-Level is two 2-hour exams at the end of the 2-year course. So it is examination assessed, whereas the bulk of the BTEC course is coursework assessed on assignments that they work on through class over the 2-year course. In A-Level there is a practical element. 30% of it is your practical performance and then also how you analyse your performance. So you can see that the practical ability weighting, if you like, is 15%, and on that it's really important that you are, if you are looking to do the A-Level course, that you are competing in whatever your one sport is outside of school. There's quite a lot of homework set through A-Level PE. You need to be quite good and quite organised in terms of your revision and making sure you've got a good grasp of kind of exam technique. And there is a pathway onto various university courses such as physiotherapy, sports science, onto PE teaching, and we had a student this year went on to do medicine at St Andrews. Myself and Miss Thomas and Mrs Hollywood are the 3 staff at the moment who teach a different section, different unit of each of the A-Level course. BTEC-wise, the practical ability is not assessed as such, but there is a practical element involved. It may well be a hands-on unit where we look at sports leadership, for example, where the students might go into a primary school and set up, organise and run various events, for example. There's not too much homework, but there's a lot of work involved in class. So there might be a little bit of delivery and then some work done within class which you might then have to take away and finish off as part of your assignment. At the moment we have Mr Hyam, Mrs Fenton Green and Mr Atkin, who are the 3 staff that make up the delivery of the various units on that course. Again, organisation is really key, as it is with all A-Levels and all Key Stage 5 work. We need to be organised both inside and outside of lessons and have that constant level of rigour, I suppose, towards your classwork. There is a pathway again for lots of sports related courses. We've had students go on to do again sports science, PE teaching, physiotherapy, going on to become fitness instructors, that sort of thing. So there is a definite pathway for both courses, and essentially at the end of the day they both carry the same UCAS points in that respect, so definitely worth considering before the next choices. Okay, so the A-Level PE course structure, the students will be assessed on both their theoretical knowledge and also their practical performance. So the theory assessment is worth 70% in the form of those 2 exams that I mentioned a moment ago. They will be sat at the end of year 13. So the practical assessment is worth 30% in the form of 1 practical sport, and there is a stringent list on AQA's website, which we'll go through in a second, the sorts of activities that you can do. So each exam will be 2 hours long. Generally they're made up of a couple of short multiple choice questions, then some short questions, and then an 8-mark question and a 15-mark question in continuous prose. And then that's repeated for the 3 different separate units that we teach in year 12 and then in year 13 as well. So the first unit is applied anatomy and physiology, where we look at the musculoskeletal system, cardiorespiratory system, energy systems, that sort of thing. Then the second unit is skill acquisition, where we look at information processing, theories of learning, operative conditioning, etc., etc. And then the third unit is sport and society, where we look at the emergence of sport and the globalisation of sport from pre-1780 up to present day. Okay, then in year 2, paper 2 topics include exercise physiology and biomechanics, where we look at diet and nutrition, and we look at injury prevention. Then we go on to look at biomechanics. In sports psychology, we look at things like arousal, anxiety and stress management techniques. And then in sports society and technology, we look at the ethics of sport, so drugs and the law and sports analytics. So the practical assessment, remember, is very different from GCSE. If you've done GCSE PE, where you look at 3 sports, we solely focus on 1. And as such, we don't do practical PE lessons like you would have done potentially at GCSE level. Okay, for example, this year we've got a cohort of 8, and we've got within there, we've got an elite swimmer, we've got an elite netball player, we've got an elite synchronised swimmer, we have got a rugby player, we've got a golfer, so it'd be quite very hard for us to work on all those skills within one particular session. So that's why it's very important that if you are looking to do the A-level course, that you are competing outside of school in whatever your chosen selected sport is. So you would get a mark out of 45, and that's split up into 3 different areas. So for example, we've got somebody whose top sport is netball, area of assessment 1, which would be their attacking skills. They may well get a mark of 13 out of 15. Area of assessment 2, defensive skills, a mark of 11 out of 15. And an area assessment 3, tactical skills, a mark of 12 out of 15, which gives them 36 out of 45, which by the way is a very good, a very strong practical score. We would add that then to their analysis of performance, where we have to write a written analysis of 2 weaknesses from our performance, and we have to analyse what's wrong with our performance and how we compare that to an elite model, and then what we would do to improve that using theory from the course. So for example here, the example I've got there, they get 11 out of 20 for their analysis of performance, and then 16 out of 25 for their evaluation. So all we do is total all of that up, and we end up there with an overall score of 63 out of 90. Just click that one on. So 63 out of 90. So here's the list of practical activities that you can currently do for AQA. So please feel free to kind of freeze that screen and see if that fits in with your specified sport. Okay. Historically, we have done very well actually at A-level. We started a new specification a couple of years ago, but our results over the last 5-6 years have been historically quite strong, with a small cohort consistently achieving above national averages, and obviously this year we are not sharing the centre assessed grade results. So in terms of staffing, as I said, I'm the lead on A-level. I've been an examiner since 2005 for AQA and either GC and A-level papers. Mrs. Holly was also a GCPE examiner. I deliver at the moment the anatomy and physiology. Mrs. Thomas delivers the skill acquisition, sports psychology, and Mrs. Hollywood delivers the sport and society and technology units. There are other PE staff involved. As a team, we do the marking of practical performance, for example. So there would be other members of the PE team involved in that process. A couple of frequently asked questions. Do students need to be playing sport outside school? Yes, definitely. I've already made that point a couple of times. It's always asked. 30% of the marks are awarded not only for your practical performance, but also your analysis of that. So to have a good analysis and understanding of the sport, you need to be playing it regularly. Do students need to purchase a revision guide? No. Students have everything they need to revise from their class notes within their folders. And we've also purchased an online resource called the Ever Learner, which gives them 24/7 access to course tutorials and practice questions, where they can watch little videos to help them with specific topics that they might struggle with. In terms of career pathways, as I mentioned earlier, we had a student this year's gone to St Andrews to do medicine. We've had people go on to do teaching, go on to do psychology, sports science, sports studies, physiotherapy. They're the sorts of courses that this A-level PE would prepare for.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the BTEC Sport course. So, as Mr. Curtis has already alluded to, it's assessed continually via coursework, using methods designed to reflect the workplace. That's why the BTEC was put in place. We teach the new specification for 2016, and it consists of 3 exams. You'll sit 1 exam, that's Unit 1 in Year 12, and then you will sit 2 of the further exams, Unit 2 and Unit 22, whilst in Year 13. There's 9 units in total, which we cover. We have 6 optional units and 3 mandatory units, and these are kind of assessed throughout. It's designed for students who want a future career in sport. It's the equivalent to 2 A-levels, which is a big draw for a lot of students. The fact that it takes up 2 of the option blocks when deciding and picking A-levels. And it has the same amount of teaching time as each A-level from there. It's continually assessed, as I said, via coursework, and hopefully that reflects the whole of the programme and allows students to progress into their future careers. So just an idea of the units that we have here. So a lot of these units are very similar to the sorts of topics that you would cover in the A-level course, so there's a lot of crossovers between the two. So anatomy and physiology, which is unit 1, which is an exam, a lot of that, the content would be exactly the same or very similar to that is taught in the A-level course. We have unit 2, fitness programming, where we look at, we take students to experience different fitness tests and stuff that can be involved within the fitness industry in the gym. We look at professional development in the sports industry, unit 3, so we look at different job opportunities that could present themselves there. We look at sports leadership, we look at sports psychology, which again is something that's very similar to the A-level course. We have sport event organisation, a new unit this year, sports injury management, because we noticed that a lot of our students like to go into physiotherapy, so we put that in this year. We've got another exam investigating business in sport and active leisure industry. So the business sector in terms of sport is growing year on year. So that's a new exam that's been put in. And then we have Unit 23, which is skill acquisition. So just an idea of the results. We're very proud of our results, Prince Henry's, for the BTEC Sport course. We're regularly way above the national average. And again, this year, we're expecting fantastic results. Each year you can see that for the different papers we managed to achieve above the national average, and as I say, a lot of our students achieve the highest grades, which are the distinction grades on the course. Just to give you an idea of the staffing structure, so I'm in charge of the course and I'm also a standards verifier for BTEC. I deliver the sports psychology, the sports injury management, sport event organisation and the sports leadership unit. Ms Fenton Green delivers Unit 1, Anatomy and Physiology, and Investigating Business in Sport, the active leisure industry unit. And Mr Atkin delivers the Unit 2 Fitness Training exam. He also delivers the Skill Acquisition Sport units. So a few frequently asked questions then. Does the course take up 2 option blocks? It does. It's worth kind of a double A level. So yes, it takes up those 2 ones from there. If it does clash with other subjects, arrangements can be made, and we often do. Certain students like to take other subjects that align themselves, so business is popular because it feeds well into certain aspects that we do on the course as well. Can students take the ESET programme as well as the BTEC Sport course? Yes, they can. ESET programme and BTEC Sport are 2 different courses, so they can take both of them side by side, and there's no clashes there at all. Do students need to purchase a revision guide? No, but we do recommend that students purchase these 2 books here, which will help them. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of good guidance that the students can find within these books. So it's optional, but students can purchase these 2 to help them. So future career pathways. Obviously they can go into various employment in the sports and active leisure industry. A lot of our students go off to university, they go on and do different sports courses, physiotherapy, they go into teaching, business and marketing. There's a full range of courses at university that our students will go into, as well as the world of work. Have we done anything about the ESET?
No.
Do we need to do something about the ESET though?